This is Kate Baconsale. You're listening to Baconsale.
Carry on, my wayward son, for there'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more.
Take it easy.
I leaned back for the microphone.
It's Jake's turn for the intro. Don't showboat.
He got into my soul with that song.
Look, I tried to do what Joel is doing. I tried it. I literally.
Can I hear you just do a
No, not even that. And it was so bad. It was so bad. I'm like, it's not even bad enough to be funny.
welcome to Baconsale.
I'm Joel.
I'm Kent.
And Jacob.
Thank you I loved your feedback on our last show. I have to say, I really enjoyed hearing how you guys enjoyed our pitches for our horror movies. And
I'm going to say it was the best pitch show yet. Not only by us, but the most well-received as well.
That's why it was our last one.
I have another in my back pocket.
You do. But no, really, it was fun to see you guys kind of, at least enjoy our ideas. That's always fun to hear. And some of my
even
favorite
lose
ones,
sleep over it.
People said they got creeped out, which I was like, yes. Like some person said they were in a locker room and like the lights started to flicker during the Bernice pitch. And that made him run out of there. And I was like, that's great. One of my favorite tweets was from Mads on Twitter. And she says, me at 5 p.m., I'll be fine. Me at 2 a.m., they know me?
Yes.
And I was like,
pretty funny.
That's great.
That was pretty
right?
funny.
That made me laugh pretty hard. And so,
And of course, it all goes to my head. I'm like, yes, vindication.
Well, we weren't even trying for that, actually. It just happened. Right?
What just happened?
Well, because
my successful stories?
We didn't talk
Thought it
about
was creepy.
what we were going to talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the
It wasn't
show
a
started
plan.
off goofy and then it just turned
Yeah,
into
no,
this.
it's totally just an organic
spooky
thing. Yeah, I had a student, fellow student, say that they listened to it late at night and then had to watch something nice afterwards.
Really? We had that effect on people?
Yeah.
We put that demonic spirit into people?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay.
I think that deserves a yay.
Yeah. I actually got a text from Steve who said, listening to Kent's original pitch driving home at 10 p.m., not recommended. And then he said, serious case of the willies.
Awesome.
I know. Isn't
By
that
the way,
fun?
I have more stories coming because that...
You might have to hang on to your pitch just for next year to make sure you can get it again.
Well, it sounds like it needs to be a podcast. I think your green light was semi-correct.
Oh, you think so, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe.
So-
But, yeah, if you haven't gone back and listened to our last show, because that's not what we're talking about today, go back and listen to it. Season of the Pitch, episode 128. And we're nearing the end of our Halloween episodes, which makes me a little bit sad. But we have a couple good shows to end on.
Yes, we
Including-
do.
What are we talking about today, Jacob?
Guys, today's the day. It's finally...
You're finally leaving Baconsale?
Guys,
Oh, don't say finally.
I'm out. He's been waiting for a while, just to be honest. Yeah.
I'll miss you.
I thought he was going to walk out after we got this show on him. You've been very stressed out, Jacob.
He has a handsome robot. He wants to just come on and replace me.
Oh, I want to see this handsome robot.
Handsome.
Wait a minute. It's just kind of like a 5.5? Is that what you mean?
About that, yeah.
Okay.
Man, that's low. Okay, well,
But
today, guys, it's Supernatural Day. It's basically,
like how
it's
we-
basically
I was
a
gonna-
holiday.
we usually woo.
Normally I would say yay, but this is what I wanted to bring up. We've done this a couple times before, where we talked about
This is basically the third in a trilogy.
Yes, because we talked about Doctor Who in our first season,
And I preached the good word.
Kent was the super fan. I was the regular fan. Jacob was the novice.
Yep.
And then we did just last year.
Yeah.
we did Mystery Science Theater, where I was the super fan
I was the regular fan.
and Jacob was the novice.
Surprise.
But this time, oh my, how the tables have been. We should have actually sat on different sides of the table for
we
this show.
should have switched it.
That would screw everything up. I wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah, I couldn't look out that window after Kent's story.
I want to be able to look at you guys.
But today, Jacob is the super fan. Kent is the regular
I'm a regular fan.
And I am the novice.
Yes.
Yep. Despite Kent and I's efforts to get him to watch.
Supernatural on the CW the whole time, yes?
No, Warner Brothers.
Warner Brother, with the WB.
1 year it was on UPN, I think.
No,
Was it not?
No, they never went UPN. So Warner Brothers, and this isn't going to matter to anyone. I think they were on there for 2 years.
I think it's a year or two at best.
Yeah, 1 or 2, and then.
But didn't the WB
Warner-
become the CW?
And then Warner Brothers transitioned to UBN or whatever, and they moved to CW.
Yeah.
And didn't miss a beat.
Now, if you've listened to the Baconsale show before, the Baconsale show, that's what I'm calling
it's also the only Warner Brothers show still going.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's the only show from 20 years ago that's still
That,
going.
you know,
Besides The Simpsons.
there are certain things. There's maybe 3 things that Jacob loves in this world.
Gallivant is not one of them.
Churning butter.
That's true.
2,
Raising
Gallivant.
Roofs.
Gallivant?
Yeah, Raising Barns,
Gallivant.
yes.
And 3 is Supernatural. Jacob gets giddy whenever we talk about the show. Maybe not giddy as much as defensive, because every time we bring it up, it's usually just to bug him.
Well, it's kind of weird as well because we've known Jake for years now, and you didn't really watch horror until about 3-4 years ago, maybe.
Well, I've been watching Supernatural before.
Yeah, but you're watching Supernatural, which is basically a copy of everything that came before it in a clever way.
Well, I watched X-Files too.
Yeah, you basically rewatched X-Files.
Not Buffy. I didn't have time for that.
My
but-
impression...
Here we go.
My impression of Supernatural, and I have seen, I believe I'm on season 2, episode 8 right now, and that's over.
You're cruising. How long have you? Okay,
Like 6
Joel?
years
And
it's taken him to
so,
get that
Jake,
far.
you're clearly the super fan. You've been watching this forever. You've been preaching to me forever until I started watching it. And then Joel, when did you start watching
I
Supernatural?
probably started watching it about 3 years ago.
And you're on season 2,
Season
episode
2,
8.
episode 8.
Joel, you've watched 5 seasons of Arrow in that time. 3
crazy.
seasons of Flash.
Crazy.
1 season of Gotham.
You watched 6 seasons of Gilmore Girls in that time, and you watched 1 full season of Supernatural. Jake, how upset are you right now?
That is pretty messed up, Joel.
But I'm not against the show. Like I was going to say, before I ever watched the show, my impression of Supernatural was it's like a teeny bopper version of X-Files. That's what I thought Supernatural was.
A lot of people have that impression.
Yeah. And when I started watching, I was like, oh, this is actually kind of fun. Like, this is a monster of the week, creepy show. And I'd watch it during the Halloween season, and I'd watch a couple episodes, and then the Halloween season would go away, and I kind of stopped watching it. That's why it's taken me so long, because I really only watched it during the month of October for the past
Have
2
you
years.
watched one this month? Silence.
Not yet.
Not yet.
How many episodes of Gilmore Girls have you seen this month?
4?
Because that's a terrifying show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This says more about you, Joel, than
here's
Supernatural.
the
I did
thing,
watch
Joel.
all The Good Place, though, for you.
Was that for me?
That was for you.
Really?
Oh, so you take a
Guys,
recommendation
guys,
on
guys.
Spooked Podcast.
Dude, The Good Place is fun.
It is fun.
I love The Good Place.
We're not talking about The Good Place.
I would do a bacon bit on
Joel,
The Good
you-
Place.
How much have you seen of Supernatural?
I have seen almost every season. I am halfway through the 12th season.
How many seasons have they had?
It's on its 13th.
Yep, and they've just started the 13th.
And they're ending on this one, right?
No.
I thought they said this was the end.
Is it 14?
No, there has been rumors, and this is only rumors, that Jensen and Jared, the two leads,
First name basis.
Yeah.
that
Jensen
they've-
Ackles and
Jared
Jared
Padalecki.
they've basically put these guys in charge because, and this is going to get into content for the show, but the president said that, hey, as long as the ratings are there and Jensen and Jared want to keep doing it, they've got my vote.
Wait, I thought earlier this year they announced that there was going to be a final
Can you just
season.
call them Sam and Dean? It's really confusing when you say
Yeah, please.
Jensen and Jared.
But then
Oh,
it's
this is-
confusing
this
because
is the
Dean is
actors.
Dean and
Dean
Sam is Dean.
Yeah, Sam is Dean on Gilmore Girls. His name is Dean on
really
Gilmore
is
Girls.
confusing, isn't it?
really confuses me that he's Dean. He's
Stop
Sam
it.
on the show.
Stop it.
There's another one with Smallville, too. Like, I think his name was Sam or something there. I can't
was
remember
Jared
what it was.
Padalecki on Smallville?
No, Jensen
Jensen.
Ackles was.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Jensen and Jared.
Sam and Dean.
The fans call him J squared.
Jacob, I feel like we need to bring it back, though. I think we need to bring back to boil it down to what is this show
Okay.
about?
All right, so it's saving people, hunting things. That is sort of the tagline that people
So it's
use.
Duck Dynasty.
If I may give the plot from the Supernatural wiki. Or
there-
Well, hold on. Actually,
that
I wanna-
expression I just gave, I'm like, oh crap, he's not recording.
I want to intro that because for the life of me, and I read tons of summaries and descriptions and things, and I cannot settle on any of them. They're not quite right, And so I even have
Jacob doesn't know how to
examples, but
Google.
go ahead and give yours. Go ahead and give yours.
Well,
wanna
if
see
I was going to give one
it
personally, if I was
satisfies.
going to pitch the show, I would say it's X-Files married to Buffy with 2 hot, sexy young guys in the leads. Hot, sexy.
I see your true colors.
Oh, Joel,
shining
I have
through.
recordings from you that I'm putting at the end of the show.
Those are out of context.
So, but the plot is the show follows brothers Sam and Dean Winchester, who travel across America in a black 1967 Chevy Impala, investigating and combating paranormal events and other unexplained occurrences. And so then it's like urban legends, folklore, and supernatural creatures.
That sounded pretty dry, though.
Yeah, that's from the Supernatural Wiki.
It doesn't do it even the faintest bit of justice, which is
Wow.
the trouble.
2 sexy dudes.
That
Two
part's
sexy
true.
dudes.
What
hunting
more do you need
ghosts.
to know?
That's the theme of Baconsale. 3 sexy dudes hunting ghosts.
I actually read this one line of it was some journalist that was describing it, and he said that the pilot is a show in which a college student came home and found his girlfriend on the ceiling roasting like a blonde marshmallow. And I was like,
wow. Hey,
wow,
kids.
dude.
Spoiler alert, too.
Yeah.
For the first episode?
Yeah, we're going to spoil the pilot. No, I've already come to terms with that. But yeah, I mean, anytime you read Dean and Sam, they're brothers, and they hunt demons and ghosts and monsters, and
Monsters? They're hunting the monsters?
they would.
Lily!
It's only a matter of time till they come onto the show.
It's a true story.
they literally have opened up the door to Oz.
We will get there.
So
we should talk about what the audience said about this show, because it really seemed like they matched your sentiment there, Joel.
Well, it's funny how whenever we do these introductory shows like Doctor Who, like Mystery Science Theater, people get really kind of defensive, like, oh, I'm not really into that show. Which is fine, except for if we like it, you probably
what
will
are people
too.
trying to protect here? Why can't you just say, "Oh, I've never seen it. Maybe I should watch it sometime. Maybe after listening to your show."
That's actually what Blake said. He said, "I've never seen it. The only way I could be persuaded into watching it is if you can convince me that junior high aged girls won't like it."
Look, let me just respond to Blake right now. Then, my 18-year-old nephew likes this show. I like this show. My mom likes this show. I don't know how it works that those three demographics.
You don't know how TV works?
It's ridiculous. No, I literally have been watching this show for years, and so have my mom. Until I go back home, just some trip, and during the daytime, she's got Supernatural turned on, and I was like, "Oh, hey, mom, you want me to change that?" And she's like, "Oh, I love this show," and I'm like, "You're kidding me, right?" She just turned 73.
Hey, Jake.
Two sexy hot men running across the country.
By the
Is
way.
she lonely? So it's funny that you bring up Blake brought up the teenage girl thing, because KP, he says, "I can confirm that junior high age girls will like it. My wife teaches middle school, and 2 of her students would sign their names with Sam and Dean Winchester, the lead characters. So they'd be like, if it's Julie, it's like Julie Winchester."
Look, I don't blame them, honestly. But no, I mean, and in all reality, and I mean, Kent, you already said they're 2 sexy dudes. A lot of this is simply.
You don't need to go back to me saying
Remember
that.
when you said that, Kent? I remember really well.
And I meant
Jensen's
it.
pushing 40.
He is. He's older, dude.
Yeah, he's 39. I looked that up.
Yeah.
By the way, 2 different people, Spencer Myers and Jillian Terry, both said that the first 5 seasons are good and that everything after that isn't worth watching.
They don't know what they're talking about. However, they have a point, which I will explain, right? Because Kripke only wrote it till 5 seasons.
Kripke?
Yeah, Eric Kripke. He's the writer creator.
Okay.
And so
He's the Joss Whedon of this world.
he is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's made a bunch of other worlds that have failed, honestly.
Oh, wait. I did want to, like, when we were talking about encapsulating the show, I thought JT Williams on Facebook made a great pitch here.
All right, let's hear it.
He said, 2 boy band understudies fight Satan and blast sticks in an epic tale of brotherly love and recycled plot lines.
That's good, yeah?
Other than the recycled plot lines.
I would say for about 3 seasons, they borrow almost everything from the X-Files.
Oh, recycled from other stories.
I would say so.
Yeah, that's okay.
But I will say, on the positive note,
That's what it all is.
Kirsten really nailed it. And this is, maybe this is how it speaks to like your family and Kirsten in a way, me. She says the writers of this show get me, or rather get my sense of humor. I do not normally like horror, but kind of like you did, Jake. But the humor in the show makes up for it. I actually got to the point where I could say I like the horror part too. It's the boys. Their love of classic rock, their chemistry with each other, the Impala, and Bobby. That's in caps.
I have no idea who Bobby is.
Bobby's great.
You'll get there. Actually, you should be there. But I stopped watching after 6 or 7 seasons. I really think most shows should hit around then, which is halfway through where it is now. The whole Demons from Hell thing was too much.
Didn't know that
but I
was.
will always like Sam and Dean.
And then I replied with a gif of the 2 brothers standing on a porch in what seems to be cut off priest shirts.
I saw that. Yeah.
Which when I was doing the responses on Facebook, I have to admit I loved looking up supernatural gifs. I think they're hilarious. And there's so many.
And everybody
out there.
thought it was me too, and that too.
Yeah, they did. They're like, Jacob's using this as an excuse to use supernatural gifs. Yeah.
By the way, can I say fun fact? Jensen Ackles is the most gifable person on the planet.
He really
He's got
kinda
a lot
is.
of good expressions.
He is the best facial comedy guy for gifs alone.
There's just so much like archived that they can go back and pull, right?
Yes.
I mean, he's just been on
Yeah.
TV
Well,
so long.
Yeah. Well, also Matt
That
Smith.
face, though.
Matt Smith did write. Why is Dean Bay?
He is Bay.
He is. No, I mean, if there's anybody that, like, I'll just say, as far as man crushes go on TV, it would be Jensen Ackles for sure.
Wow.
It'd be Idris Elba.
This is a whole other show.
This is a show, right? And maybe
That's next season.
Timothy
Dalton.
Oliphant.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Only in Justified. I don't really love him in anything else.
What do
But
you think of Josh Duhamel? Because a lot of people get him and Timothy Oliphant mixed up.
No. It's the character in Justified.
It's the hat.
It might be the hat. Who knows?
The swagger.
Anyway.
This is the weirdest show. Yeah.
But here's the thing for Supernatural, right? Let me just dig into this a little bit. I don't like much stuff on TV. I really don't. I'm
You
very
watch
particular.
more TV than both of us, though.
So here's how I watch
Yeah,
more
you always
TV.
come to us and say,
I watch a lot of
Watch a show,
pilots.
watch a show.
I watch a lot of pilots. I turn off a lot of pilots. And there's tons of shows I never
On the
see.
airplane?
I'm like, hey, check this out. And then they're like, oh, I'm turned off.
No. Oh, my goodness.
That's pretty much the only connotation he could mean.
family friendly.
You did that, Joel.
How do you turn on a pilot?
Stop.
We love to fly and it shows.
Stop. Not Radio Ronan.
Nope.
All right, what am I saying?
Pilots. You turn off pilots.
You were able to give up shows if you don't think
right,
they're good. Whereas
so-
I'm a completist. If I start a show, I will probably finish
I
it.
will happily drop a show. I will drop a show so fast, and I do constantly. I watch pilots. When they don't measure up, I let them go. I don't
Yeah.
care. I'm not married to
Just
them.
pilots. You don't even give it like a couple episodes.
No. If the pilot sucks, it's over.
I give a 45-minute show 3 episodes. I give a 20-minute show 6 episodes. If I'm not hooked by then, I'm out.
No way am I that generous. It's easy to tell really fast if it's going to work, right? And there's some shows that's right on the line.
I'm gonna.
That's another show. That's another show.
That is another show. And don't tell me how you love Mad Men, because it sucks too.
I don't like
No,
Mad
neither
Men.
one of us
Take
like
it
Mad Men.
easy.
Oh, and you know how I could tell? From the pilot. How many seasons did you watch of Mad Men?
all but one.
Was it like 8 of them or something?
Yeah.
Man, that show's
About
a
the
waste
same
of
for me,
time.
too.
So, no, I mean, I am really particular. I don't watch very many shows. And this one
But you
works.
watch a CW show starring
I
2,
watched
as
this-
Kent said,
Hold on.
hot, sexy men.
It's ridiculous, but it works. Here's why it works, right? It's never, ever been huge. It's never blown up. It's never had
Like,
this...
what would ratings be on this show? Like 3 million per episode?
2 to 3, yeah.
I'll look it up.
Which is, for the CW, fine.
No, it
Right?
puts
It's not
it-
a smash
it
success,
puts
but
it-
they're making money from
They're
it.
right below Arrow and, Legends of the whatever.
See, and you bring up, and please hold your thought real quick. You bring up the fact that it's CW. Like, CW is where TV is just bad.
It's more CW. Every show that I've seen on CW turns into a CW show, which means
It's a soap opera.
love triangles, soap operas.
Bad writing.
I cannot wait to talk about how this is the exception to that.
Okay. By the way, looking at it, it's about 2 million, high 2s in viewership.
But it's on
Yeah, that's
season
what I said, 2 to 3.
13? That's
Yeah.
insane.
And they
It
just
started
stick
off
there. They
like
just stick
the
around.
first season is the highest at 3.8, but last season was 2.6.
Yeah, and that's enough to keep going.
And
right?
it's gone up and down too. So this isn't like it's gone down. It has peaks and valleys.
No, and it really doesn't really show any signs of dying right now. And it's
Well, you've said for the past 2 or now in our 3rd year on this show, every time we talk about Supernatural, you're like, guys, it's actually surprising. In season 17 is actually the strongest yet.
best season ever.
look, 12, which is what you're talking about, was really good, which is nuts.
Which how many shows do you know that
No,
went
not
on
12.
that
11.
long?
11 is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, 11 was actually
I
really
really
good.
liked 11.
Not
Yeah.
a lot of shows go this long, and not a lot of shows keep their fandom this long either.
No, and the fandom's really where it's at. Except I haven't gotten to the rest of my thought about why it still works, because it works because, like I said, it never got so big that I think it got out of proportion, right? Like, I think there's this Stranger Things effect that's happened right now, right? There was a show that was pretty good, and everyone loves it, everyone talks about it, and now there's hype for season 2 that's just so high.
Yeah.
It's not reachable.
It's not going to.
It's impossible for this show to actually create a product that's equal to the hype.
There's other 80s movies they could steal from.
And they will, but it's still not going to work. And the show will probably be fine. But it's not. Supernatural's never been lost. It's never been, and I mean the show lost. It's never been lost.
Where season 1 peaked so strong that anything
Right.
else was kind of a disappointment.
Yeah, there was no way to keep it. Now,
Right.
Supernatural has just had this strong, flat flow of enjoyability. It's never been like
You should write marketing copy. Strong flat flow of marketability.
Yeah, that doesn't really sound good.
Hot, sexy, flat flow.
Oh, it's my band's name in college.
What?
That's weird.
Is it a groove band?
It was fat flow, not flat
fat.
flow.
PHAT?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the show, it's good in season 1 and it's good in season 13. How that's possible, I don't know. But they've done it, and they don't. I have kept this vigilant eye watching this show, and I'm like, okay, here is going to be. It's finally going to happen. There's going to be the episode where I've seen this crap before.
Yes.
And it's never happened.
I'm going to build on that because I think this show is all about building, and this is the only reason I can still keep watching. Besides the two guys, am I right?
Yeah.
No, because in season 1 and 2,
I mean, they do have good chemistry. Like, they're
great
Kent's not
together.
talking about chemistry.
No, I really am.
He's
because
talking about facial symmetry.
that Dean. Sam's always sad. You know, in season 1 and 2, it is about urban legends, and it kind of just
like
they're scary
like
stories.
Bloody Mary,
Monster of the Week,
and-
exactly.
yeah. I can't remember the other ones.
Clowns, the Wendigo, that
Yeah.
sort of thing. But then it's not that for like 3 more seasons. It's not just like, hey, here's our story arc and we're still going to fight some monsters. Then it turns into, and if I may, Jake, I want to talk about the villains of this show because this is where I feel that it builds on itself. We start off with 2 brothers fighting monsters and ghosts. And then all of a sudden, and sorry, Joel, there's going to be some spoilers here, and I apologize.
And sorry, listener.
Well, and
but it's okay.
I gave a
But
pass
I'm not
on
gonna
the
go too
spoilers.
deep.
Yeah, I gave us pass on minor spoilers because I said, look, I'm not watching this for the overarching plot line.
Yeah.
I'm watching it because I'm entertained by the 2 characters and because there's some creepy stuff.
Even though I have to admit, some of the story arcs are surprising.
But
Like,
are you going to spoil those ones? The surprising ones?
No, the characters will
basically-
be spoiled. Yeah.
So, like in our Doctor Who show, we talked about the monsters that have been around for 50 years and some of the newer ones, which are really memorable. I more so want to talk about the evolution of these 2 characters based on what opposes them. And so, yeah, we have a monster of the week for the first season and a half. Then all of a sudden, demons. Straight up demons roaming the earth. And they're like, okay, we're demon hunters.
Yeah, well, I mean, they meet a character, and you think she's just this regular old girl, and then suddenly she's killing a guy. I won't explain how because it's actually fairly. And I should also say this is a pretty bloody show.
Oh, by the way,
is it?
Joel, what you've seen, season 1 and 2, seems pretty dark and like moody, right?
It's dark.
They're the happiest seasons of the show.
Oh, no.
I am
sure
not
that's
kidding
true.
you.
You're
It is
selling this now.
It is true. And so then after demons, archangels and dark angels, right? You're like, angels in a show like this? That seems kind of weird.
But they do it.
Oh, don't worry. Here's another evolution. We have the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Oh, you're just going through the whole thing.
I'm not going to give the main and who plays them and all that sort of thing.
Wait,
but
Leviathan
so
sucked,
it becomes
by the way.
X-Men?
yes. Literally Archangel shows up and
Okay.
Psylocke.
Yeah.
Olivia Munn shows up.
Yep.
That'd be nice.
I'm okay with this.
Then here's where it gets
sure?
crazy.
She's gonna take the screen away from Sam and Dean.
Here's where it gets crazy. It wasn't
Here's where it
crazy
gets
before.
crazy. So we have angels showing up. We have demons. Satan,
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Satan himself shows up. Lucifer is the big bad in one of these seasons, and you're like, that seems a bit cheesy, but let's see these 2 brothers take this guy on.
And he's great.
He's
the actor
great.
does fantastic. He nails it. It's Mark Pellegrino. And
Jacob from Lost.
Pellegrino. Mark.
Yeah, it's Jacob from
okay.
Lost.
I knew speaking your language.
And I mean, it's like magic, him in that role. Like, he nails it so well.
But
What
then-
about the other guy? I thought the other guy was Satan. The little toady guy from
Oh, no,
Firefly.
it's Crowley.
Crowley's the king of hell.
Yeah, well, he starts as a crossroad demon, and he's so lovable.
Well, wait, they're getting.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm going to be Jacob here. You guys are getting off way into the weeds right now.
So they have, I mean, a big part of the show is working with the demons. Now, the way to summon a demon early on in the show is they go to a crossroads and they make a deal. You bury something on the street, and a demon
Which
shows
is based
up.
on folklore.
Right,
Yeah.
it's all
Yes.
folklore, right? So they make deals. Well, Crowley started off as a really ambitious crossroad demon, and he was a super likable character, so they kept giving him more storylines, basically, until he becomes the king of hell eventually.
But Joel, Lucifer is not the main, he's not the big bad. It just keeps building and building, which is why 12 seasons later, I'm still watching going, how could they possibly go bigger than season 5? And then how could they possibly go bigger than season 11? There's no
there's no way to go bigger than season 11.
But they keep doing it
and we
because
can't spoil
it becomes
season 11, really.
No, we can't.
It's too big. Like, we can't spoil
I'm sure
that one.
it is, fellas.
No, it really is.
No, I think Secrets of the Universe will be unlocked if I mention the name of the demon in season 11.
It's
Demon, huh?
It will shock you. It will shock you what they do in 11.
But what I was going to say is, and this is me pulling it back a bit, do you think that building is a problem, though? Like, are people going to be able to jump into an episode
Well, here's the trouble.
and really enjoy
No,
it unless,
you're actually right.
unless they've grown with Sam and Dean?
You're actually right. And
Yeah.
maybe Ken has a good answer for this, but the thing is like the complaint that was brought up on Facebook is 1 through 5 are really strong. And they flounder a bit in 6 and 7. They start floundering a little.
They're fighting Flounder from Little Mermaid?
Exactly. Just
He's
like
a guppy.
He doesn't know. But some of the best episodes are actually in 6 and 7, but they're standalones. Like, they really go on a limb. They're like, let's try this crazy thing, but the story arc is gone.
It had to find its legs after its main arc was
a lot of the enjoyment come from the show. It seems to me comes from knowing the relationship between Sam and Dean and the other people in their lives. Mm-hmm. And how that relationship builds and changes as the show goes on.
Yes.
So can people get just as much enjoyment jumping into a season 8 show as they are a season 2 show? No. If they don't know it.
Because you have to go through with them in order to be there with them, right? You have to know.
So you'd recommend starting at the beginning?
No, you have to have these. Yeah, you've got to start at the beginning. I don't think, and I mean,
it's a very good place to start.
There's a lot of people that have lists of things where you can skip around, and I do have some standalone episodes if you want to just kind of like test the waters,
get the flavor.
And I mean, I'll suggest those
Taste
later.
The rainbow.
But there's these moments where you've got.
Are you talking about Slash fans? Is that what we're talking about?
What?
Because there's Dean / Sam. There are Slash fans out there that really actually they call it. Can I just read this part?
I have no idea what he's saying.
I don't know either what he's saying.
So there is a woman who wrote a book called Fangasm. It's about Supernatural fans. Joel is not happy because we've done this again.
Family friendly.
And she says there's fan fiction, usually written by women, that involves Sam and Dean, and it's called Wincest.
Well, no, there's this whole.
This is another episode I will not be showing my children.
There's a huge homoerotic subtext, is what there is, and it's not because there's anything in the script. It's not their
brothers.
fault. It's because they're brothers. No, Joel,
don't Google image Sam and Dean.
No,
don't do it. There's a lot of fan art out there.
There is a.
Why are we getting into this at the show? You're supposed to be promoting the show.
This is actually.
Prince Kid just made everyone go, yeah, I don't know if I want to see this show.
This is a huge part of the mythology of the show, unfortunately, because of these fans. Because the show incorporates the fans. In fact, I'll just tangent here right now and say this show brings the fans literally into the show. And it's
literally into the show.
I'll tell you how. Right? No other show has done anything like this. There's an episode. I forget what season it is. 4 or 5.
It is actually season 4.
4, and they have a. They go.
In fact, if I may, an author is called the monster at the end of this book. An author has been writing books about Sam and Dean since 2005. Sam and Dean try to figure out how he knows so much about them. So it's a meta episode.
This is an episode description he's giving you right now.
There's a guy named Chuck, and he is a prophet. There are prophets in this show, and he's the author of Supernatural.
And he's been writing the whole show. And they have this small cult following of people who love this book series.
And
right?
so when they meet these people who think
is it a national book series? Like, how do they find out about this book?
Well,
that's the whole episode.
They're sent to like alternate dimensions sometimes where this happens, and other times it's just kind of it's meta for meta's sake.
Okay.
But they kind of realize that basically they meet fans, and the fans are like, "Oh, I want Sam and Dean to hook up." And they're like, "Dude, we're brothers! Like, what are you talking about?" But that's the joke.
They have
fans are weird.
They have their somewhat musical episode in season 11, I think.
They have a musical episode?
It's season 10.
10. In season 10.
Every show have a musical episode?
It's called Fan Fiction.
And it's a great episode, actually. They have, there's another version of Carry On My Wayward Son, because it's this all-girls school, and they put on a play of Supernatural, and they make fun of the show while doing tributes to it as well. And Sam and Dean are there, and they get to watch them, like, imitating them, and it's as meta as it gets. But it's pulled off. It's
almost like Neverending Story, if I may. How Neverending Story has all these layers, and one of the layers is that Bastion is actually the hero of the story, even though he's reading the story.
Right.
Think of Supernatural that way. This is actually a book series.
I'm Bastion?
Sure.
Moonchild!
Don't give away the name. There's a book and a comic book series and a whole fandom about Supernatural in the world where Sam and Dean live, but they're still demon hunters. It's weird, but those are some of the best episodes where it's so self-referential that you're like, hey, that's great.
But you wouldn't get it unless you've watched all the episodes previous.
Not really. Well, I want to say another thing about the fans, too. Is
they're weird.
They really, I mean, my goodness, they're a force of nature is what they are.
Yes.
If you go, I saw NPR did this piece on Supernatural a few years ago.
Oh, get your NPR voice on.
Exactly, NPR. Supernatural has as many, like, say they did a count of Facebook likes, and this is 4 years ago or something. But they did the Facebook likes count of Supernatural versus NCIS, which has 4 or 5 times the viewership. But Supernatural has the same amount of likes, and so it's just right there. And you have some of the things, and like I think it was Jared Padalecki who's Sam, who says, I'd so much rather be part of a show where we have 2 million super devoted fans than 20 million fans or 20 million viewers who just don't care.
It's the cold audience versus the general,
right? And
which makes
general
sense.
fans. Yeah.
So they sell out conventions, like they're hyper popular. They travel around constantly doing this sort of thing. So that's just another thing about the fans. One more thought on the fans too is they won People's Choice Awards.
The fans did
what Supernatural did. For 2017, in 2017, this year they got the #1 sci-fi fantasy show because People's Choice does it by votes.
Yes.
So guess who came out and voted the most? Supernatural fans. They were voting, they dedicated themselves, and they beat everybody else.
Longest running show to never win an Emmy, by the way.
It's never won an Emmy?
It's never won an Emmy, and there's great writing in here. It's a CW show, and it's not really recognized, I think, for the genre it's in.
Yeah, another reason it really works, too, is that Jared and Jensen haven't gotten super proud, right? Their egos haven't blown up. There hasn't been big fights. They're actually really good terms.
Are they buddies in real life, the two actors?
They are. They actually both...
You keep calling him Jensen and Jared. Can you just call him Sam and Dean? It'll make it a lot easier on me if you just refer to them as the characters.
Sam and Dean in real life are actors. No,
what?
No, they film
I
in.
knew he was Dean on another show.
They film in Vancouver. They actually both live in Austin, Texas, and they commute every week to Vancouver to work.
Wait, say that one more time. They're living where?
They live in Austin, Texas,
and they're commuting to Canada.
To Vancouver. Yeah. True story.
So, dude, just move to Washington or something.
No, they live. They're both from Texas.
Wait, which side of Canada is Vancouver on?
So no, these guys are actually pals. And I read something in this recent research I was doing for this show is in season 1 they actually got into a big fight, and Dean or Jensen had said that's when he realized they were going to be good friends.
Sorry, I actually I was googling Vancouver, and one of the first things that came up on Google as the autofill was Vancouver Supernatural.
Of course,
yeah.
I didn't even plan that.
Okay, here's one other thought about the fans. Is there's a fan fiction site, the biggest one, it's fanfiction.net. And this is where, you guys know fan fiction. And for listener, if you don't know, people go on and basically write their own stories for characters that you know.
Yes.
And there's hundreds of entries, right, of different shows and lots of things that are posted. Guess what? The #1 fan fiction, it's the show that has the most fan fiction written for, Supernatural.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Big Bang Theory.
So Supernatural has, get this, 120,000 entries for fan fiction. Individual stories that have been written. That's the #1. #2 is Doctor Who with 74,000. Sherlock has 60 and Buffy has 50,000.
That's a big leap, though, from first to second.
Wait, so Sherlock was second?
Yeah.
Doctor Who was second.
No, Doctor Who was second with 74. Sherlock was third. Buffy was fourth.
That is crazy.
So, yeah, more people are trying to,
just like the dark web.
So, you run out of your own content, you just go to fanfiction.net and you can read tons of stuff that's going on there.
Don't read fanfiction.net.
It's going to be so good.
Don't go there.
And there's nothing homoerotic going on there, sure.
Not even that. It's just bad.
Joel, there's a reason I think you should watch this show, because it films in one of the same locations as Psych, and it shares a lot of the same actors.
It does.
As Psych?
Well, a lot of extras.
But then also, I think, didn't X-Files filmed up in Vancouver too, didn't they?
They actually wrote a role for Timothy Olmanson. Do you remember him from Psych? I forget what his role was. He was like the detective.
He's Lassie.
Lassie in Psych, right? They actually wrote a role for him as Cain in Supernatural.
By the way, Cain and Abel show up.
Cain and Abel, yeah. Dude,
all right.
He nails Cain. I never would have imagined it, but he saw the look. He nails that role.
He really does.
I'm impressed. That guy can't act. What were they thinking? And then suddenly he's awesome.
Here's why the show really surprises me, and we talked about this a lot when we talk about Supernatural in our off hours, I guess.
You guys talk about it in your off hours, huh?
I'll be like, Jake, I'm really tired of the formula that we're going to meet someone like a Cain, and it's going to be the big bad, and that's so telegraphed. And then 2 episodes later, that story's done, and it's wrapped up pretty well.
Yeah,
it
actually wasn't what you expected.
Hold on to an arc for too long.
It doesn't try to be too formulaic in its own tropes.
It's not formulaic at all. You meet Cain, he's a sympathetic character, and he's gone before you know it. And he was awesome while he was there, and you miss him. That's part of one of the reasons the show works. In fact, I'll just say this now too: everyone will die. And
you mean in life?
that's
the message we're going across for
man, now I feel depressed. No, Sam and Dean, they'll stick around, right? And they'll die themselves too with different plot lines. But everyone else, their family, their friends, anyone else, all the co-stars, They bite the bullet eventually.
Why is that a good thing?
Because I don't
Dramatic stakes. That's why it's a good thing.
It could happen.
Even you saying that, it's almost like The Walking Dead, where you expect kind of everyone to die, but they're dragging their feet and they're trying to make it a big impact.
That's not
In
supernatural.
this show, people are actually really likable, and they may be there for 6 seasons, and you're like, they should have been there for 1 episode. But then you grow to love them, or they may be there for 1 episode.
So speaking of that, Bobby was supposed to be there for 1 episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they just liked him.
I have no idea who that is.
So Bobby is he's a fan, like fans love him. He's a great character. Like he yells at he's basically a father figure to these guys, and he yells at them, makes fun of them.
They have a father figure.
Yeah,
I don't know how
but
much I can say during that.
He's not around.
But it seems like this is one of those shows where even if someone dies, they're not really dead.
No, it has
Unless
real. It
they
has
could
real
come
stakes.
back.
So there's a couple of exceptions to that. There's an exception where they make deals with devils to bring somebody back, and then there's another exception with divine intervention.
And by the way,
that's it.
One thing I love is that dramatic stakes are real. When they do make a deal with a demon and they say, bring this person back, it's not like, well, for example, if I may go to another CW show and it's like, say, Flash. He does Flashpoint to make something change, and then you're like, oh, this will affect the whole season. And then one episode later, it's like, we're done. Let's just go back to things as normal.
Yeah, the kind of reset button.
In Supernatural, things have consequences, which 2 seasons later take effect, and you're like,
It's true.
They shouldn't have made that deal.
Yeah.
That was a bad idea.
Okay. So I like actions having consequences. 'Cause
Exactly.
a lot of shows do that too. Like they just push the reset button as soon as they can after something goes different.
No, this one's all about staying true to what they've written.
You know what, Jake, you haven't mentioned one of the biggest characters who is a real fan favorite here, though.
Cass or Crowley.
Castiel. He calls him Cass.
That's what they call in the show.
I don't know what that is.
So Castiel is an angel that shows up in season 4. He's
the guy wearing the trench coat.
He's the third dude in the pictures?
Yes.
Castiel's the third
every
dude.
time I pull up pictures of Supernatural, I'm like, I just want Sam and Dean. And then throw in the third guy in there.
Fans love Castiel.
Yeah. Yeah, they can't. I mean, yeah, it's hard to get rid of him.
You can't separate him.
Yeah, you really. Well, I mean, I wanted to talk about what's actually going on in the show right now, but I won't.
Thank you.
But
Your
no,
restraint is appreciated.
Yeah, well, Cass has this fantastic entrance, and I mean, the show starts, and Dean's like, "No, angels can't be real," and Sam's like, "You're stupid because demons are real. Angels are probably real. We have 100 times more lore on angels than we do on anything else. Like they have to be." And no, that's stupid. And then they show up because the demons get a little bit too far ahead, right? And it's a huge, cool entrance, it works. It works by some miracle.
I just want to bring it back to another basic thing again, because you talk about how these guys go around hunting demons. What does that mean? Like, how do they hunt demons? Like with the Ghostbusters, they have their ghost packs.
And I
think we need to bring it back there.
Depending on the demon.
This is geeky stuff, but
Usually a blade.
yeah, there's a demon
blade?
blade,
Like a holy blade.
They actually they upgraded finally to a blade, which is the demon blade that they had, which a demon actually gave them, which
And the
other
demon
plots.
blade kills demons.
So
Yeah.
for example,
Because
if,
the part I'm at now, they basically use a shotgun with salt in it.
So no,
the
that's
ghosts.
for ghosts. So
let's say a demon has possessed somebody. When you stab them in the chest,
side of the table.
I know.
You geeks. You nerds.
so forever, man, what they have to do,
when you stab a demon in the chest, for example, then the black goo will go
Yeah.
like, "Ah," and scream up to the sky, and the demon spirit will go somewhere else.
the demon's fine. So
The demon's fine?
yeah, in that situation, the demon's fine. But that's pre-demon blade. So what it would be, they would have exorcisms and things like that, and that's how they got rid of demons. And holy water would bug them, and then they got the demon blade, which actually killed the demon.
Oh, you're right. Yes.
Okay.
So that would be like, no, we're actually ending this demon right now with this blade.
The reason I asked
But
is
that's early,
I
season
found it
3.
interesting, and I want to know if this continues, because at the beginning, it's like they have to find how to get rid of the demon, and they use a bunch of different methods. They look it up in a book, and they're like, hey, in Dad's journal, it says we need to do this and this and this, and they'll try it. It won't work exactly right because they're doing something wrong, and then they'll find a way to get him. I'm worried, though, now, after you said that it's just going to be magical demon blade taking care of everything from then on.
No, this is
No.
not a sonic screwdriver.
There's
Okay.
there's nothing like
Doctor
that.
Who reference.
Yeah. Well, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, those are the story arcs. We're getting kind of into the weeds, but the thing,
Kind of.
a lot. Here's the thing, though, listener. Here's the thing that charms me about the show. Is its quips. It's funny. It not only is it meta, like we said, it's self-referential and things like that. But let me just take you back. This is Jacob 10 years ago.
Funny is giving it too little credit.
It really is.
And I'm not
actually.
even saying like it's hilarious. It's rewarding. It rewards you
but
for
Ken
paying.
hates funny.
No, that's the thing. It's not just
actually a good
like
description.
one liner. It rewards you for paying attention.
Yeah.
There are things that Dean says that you go, oh yeah, it's a great reference to what just happened. An episode ago.
Yeah, or he'll just casually,
It's in its character humor as well.
Yeah,
everything
He's
is
just
consistent.
written so well. So that's I'll give you that. That's actually what I'm going to do. I'm going to give an example from that. This is from the pilot. Is Dean goes to get Sam to try and find their missing father, and while they're out, Sam is really super whiny because he's always whiny. And
No, seriously, 13 seasons in, he's never smiled once.
yeah, he's
But then
always whiny.
why do you want him in the show if he's an unlikable character?
Because he's the mope.
He's still likable. He's just not as likable.
Anyway,
Anyway,
it's all about the Dean.
it really kind of is.
Dean's Bay.
He's Han Solo, is what he is. And
I like that comparison.
yeah, it's
That's actually why you took the job.
it is. It is. Yeah,
They said we need a Han Solo type. He's like, oh, cool, because he was going to be Sam, and they're like,
He
we
wanted
need
to
a
be
Han
Dean.
Solo. He's like, I can do that.
Yeah, they're like, we don't want you to be the mopey one. Okay, so back to the pilot. I'm watching, and they're starting to have this emotional dialogue, and I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this cliche to hit me in the face because I'm really, like I said, I don't have much. I can't stand stupid pilots, right? I'm just waiting for the show to
turn you
disappoint
off?
me. They do. They really do. And so Sam starts talking, and you're like, oh crap, it's going to go down right here. And Dean just holds up his hand, and he's like, no chick flick moments, man. And that's the end of it. They move on. It's over. And I'm like, go on. Right? And the show just progresses, and it just keeps that tone. And it's just those sort of jokes that just keep hitting and landing. Like, I just love them.
Okay. Can I just bring up an odd tangent, if I may? A Joel twist, if you will.
A Joel twist.
A Joel twist, if you will. In the past, we've equated characters to Baconsale, each of us being something. On the Mr. Science Theater show, for example, Kent was Crow T. Robot, you were Servo, I was Joel, obviously, or Mike.
Right.
You're Cass for sure.
I'm Cass in this.
Yeah.
And then Kent would be...
He's got to be Sam.
Oh, are you kidding me? Dude, I'm straight up Dean. Dude, I am you. What? You're like, hold on. Joel, you're asking the guy? This is like saying, do you want to be the best?
Look,
yeah, I
just-
want to be the best.
get why Jacob likes
just,
the twist.
Just height alone, I think you guys are like, it's right there.
Oh, height?
Yeah.
Is it my beautiful butt cut that I had that I share with Sam as well?
Your hair's pretty nice,
You
yeah.
did say cut, right?
If anyone's if anyone's the cynical one here, Jake, it's me. I'd be Dean. That's
I
pretty
love
clear.
that you two are fighting over this.
Like,
No, I'm Dean. No, Dean. He said I've had this happen before where I'm like, holy crap, I connect with Dean so much because I would be thinking of a line and then that's the line they've written for Dean, and I'm like, man, I love this show. Darn it. So,
But do you love it because you're hearing it from your brother? That you're Sam and you're feeling.
I would be speaking to you that way. Me being Dean.
You're way more Sam than
Are you kidding
than I
me?
am. You're way more Sam than me.
You're much more. of a
Only
Samantha.
lately, now that I'm dating. Okay. Shoot, you're right. I am Sam.
All right,
That's funny
good
stuff.
Good twist. I see why you like these, Jacob.
Okay, here's another fact, guys. I have actually so much material here. I'm not sure how I'm going to get through all of it.
Just start burning through it. We'll,
all right,
we'll get what we can.
All right, time to start burning. Snapping the fingers.
Burn it like Sam and
Okay.
Eve's mom.
What?
Too soon?
Can I just
And
say
Sam's
though?
girlfriend.
I do really want to get. I think we need to focus real quick on what are the 3 episodes people should start on.
Hold on. No, I've got too much to get through before that. That's a closer.
This is your show, Jake.
That's a closer. That's a closer. So
Carry on, wayward
look,
son.
Look, you mentioned something earlier about it being a CW show, and I said I wanted to talk about how it's different. Right?
Yes, because in my example, like iZombie and Flash and Arrow, all of those shows started out really good.
Oh, iZombie gets bad.
Well, it just turns into more CW, where it's all about the love triangles, all about the mistaken identities.
I cannot wait to talk about that
Well,
because Supernatural. You have something.
I was just going to say, I feel like this is a tier 1 or a tier 2 show, but it's a tier 1 CW show,
for sure.
which is funny.
Would you get a
because
tier 2 show?
It's the best CW show.
would you say it's a tier 1 show?
Would
like
you say it's a
altogether?
tier 2 show, like overall? Or would you say tier 1?
Hold on, let me think about. Yes, it is a tier 1 show, and it's for.
Better or worse than Gallivant?
It's for subtle. It's definitely better than Gallivant. Gallivant's only okay. Like I only just want to
like
defend it from
America's
you saying
Funniest
it
Home
was
Videos is
terrible.
better than Gallivant. So.
Yes, it is.
Nothing is worse than America's Funniest Home Videos. Nothing.
25 seasons in running.
Probably won a few Emmys.
Probably so.
Oh, that's gross.
I'm
Anyway,
actually looking up how many seasons America's Funniest Videos has. So go ahead.
so we talk about these guys, and like there's the beefcake appeal or whatever for these two dudes, and the
That's
fact
the first
is,
time beefcake appeal's ever been said on Baconsale.
this
28, by the way.
But the fact is that
28 seasons for America's Funniest Videos.
these guys don't have love triangles. They don't even take off their clothes ever.
I actually just saw an episode though where like Dean was trying to get with this girl and it was bothering Sam because he was spending all her time with her.
That's because you're in season -4 or something. I don't know.
Two.
But two. Yeah. So
I'm surprised you didn't know that.
They have Dean. There is some like.
But it's not carried over. It's like an episode.
Yeah, it is. And it's only in the first few seasons. And then they just drop it entirely.
Okay.
Because it's like, no, that's not what this is about. There's no love triangles. There's no whininess. There's no like.
I thought you said Sam was whiny.
Explicit sex stuff. No, I mean whiny as far as like terrible dialogue that's just written like, oh no, we're having a baby. What do we do? Or
The only secrets they're keeping from each other is like, I'm cursed. Like, things are bad, and I don't know if I want to tell my brother right now.
That's what kind of where too, where Sam is having some issues and he doesn't want to tell Dean about them.
Yeah, and they'll
happens.
jump. Yeah.
No, and in fact, there's a long trend through like some of the middle seasons, which is a weird thing to say, where it's Sam has a secret for a season, then Dean has a secret for a season. And it goes back and forth like 3 or 4 seasons. But
it's almost like a Harry Potter thing where if they just talked to Dumbledore and said, "Hey, what would happen if we did this?" and he would tell them, but they don't tell him till the end of the movie.
I was wondering how many circles of geekdom we'd get into today. We're doing pretty good.
There's no love triangles though. Like that has never happened.
Would you consider people that watch Supernatural geeks? Like, is it a geeky show?
Honestly, no, I don't personally. Maybe somebody else would, but for me, this stuff is super approachable. It's as approachable as the horror genre itself.
I feel like horror. I love horror comedies, and so I feel like that's
like the best
not as
genre
geeky.
ever. Yeah, horror comedy is just awesome.
It's cultish, but not geeky.
Yeah, I mean,
okay,
and they're just having fun. Like, I mean, they wanted Bruce Campbell to come in and play their dad, right? It didn't work out, but I mean, that's the sort of like stuff that they just want to do.
They already had a dad, Negan.
Yeah.
Oh no. Who's by the way, he's only 12 years older than Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Jeffrey Dean Morgan is only 12 years older.
Wow.
And his mom's only 9 years older.
What the weird?
Yeah.
It's
this show took an odd turn.
Now, Wincest.
All right.
Yes.
Now look, I'm going to burn through some of these
Why
things.
did you have to bring that up again?
Wincest. It's a thing.
It's not.
It is, unfortunately. Okay, so here's one of the running gags. This is just an example. Now, these are throwaway jokes that you just kind of delight in. You blink and you miss them, right?
Okay.
But they have aliases. Sam and Dean go. You've probably seen a little bit of this. They show up as FBI agents and they give fake names.
That's like Psych. When he
Yes.
does that, like I'm
Yeah.
So-and-so,
Except
so-and-so.
what Supernatural or what Sam and Dean do is they do references, right? They give sort of props. It's Easter eggs, and it's usually hard rock. Like
I was going to say,
Yeah, it's like I'm Agent Page and I'm Agent Plant.
yeah.
but yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what Psych does.
So one you'll really like though is, and this is season 1, right? So Dean says he's Ted Nugent when he's being interrogated by the police, but it's actually a Fletch reference because of Fletch doing that, right? Then in season 4, Dean introduces both of the brothers as county code enforcement officers, Babar and Stanwyck.
That's a Fletch reference,
which
as well.
is another Fletch
Mr.
reference.
Babar and Alan Stanwyck.
Yeah. And we've got. So I'm just going to burn through some of these, right? So Dean introduces himself and Sam as U.S. Wildlife Service agents Ford and Hamill.
Star Wars,
Right? Star Wars.
Here, let's see if I can guess these.
Okay, so here's another one for you, Joel. There's a werewolf episode, and Dean says that he and Sam are detectives Landis and Dante.
John Landis from
Director.
Director of American Wolf London,
That's
and then
right.
Dante's Inferno.
Joe Dante.
Joe Dante.
Yep.
Joe Dante directed The Howling. Okay, so they pretend to be phone company reps that go by the names Campbell and Raimi.
Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi from Evil Dead series.
Here's a hard one for you. Dean, I think it's Dean, introduced himself as Wedge Antilles.
That's Star Wars.
That's Star Wars.
Yeah.
That's a really subtle one. He's like this fighter pilot.
Subtle. Like Jacob thinks that's subtle.
I thought it was a
that's-
subtle one.
that's very
No.
cute.
You didn't? Okay.
Or Biggs and Wedge, would it? Yeah.
All right. Bobby, who you don't know, uses the name Frank Castle.
That's the Punisher.
That's the Punisher. Oh, you're gonna like this one too, Joel. These are all ones to win you over, right? In season 7, as the episode called "The Girl Next Door," it's all about human-like creatures called kitsunes. Now, the kitsune thereafter actually has an alias as well. whose name is Amy Pond.
Ah, Doctor Who reference.
Yeah. Now, when Charlie enters the series, Charlie is Felicia Day. And
Okay.
she's a super nerd, and she's freaking adorable on the show, is what she is, because...
I believe super nerds would say frackin' adorable.
Frackin'
Yes,
adorable.
indeed.
Yeah, they probably would. So she has a whole bunch, more than I'm even going to name. She has one where she poses as... Or she calls the guys Agents Hicks and Ripley. You got that one?
Is that Alien?
It is Alien, yeah.
Aliens, actually.
Yeah, Aliens.
Add the yes.
Okay, here's another one. No, that's Stark and Banner is another one.
That's Tony Stark and Bruce Banner.
Okay, here's a tougher one, right? Nigel Tufnell. Dean introduced himself as Nigel Tufnell from the Chicago Tribune. Who is that?
That sounds familiar, actually, to me.
I don't know it either.
It's the lead guitarist from Spinal Tap.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
Yeah. Okay, here's another one. Shapeshifter refers to Jamie and Dean, somebody else in the show, as Mina and Jonathan Harker.
Oh,
You know it.
I just saw this.
You did. With your kids.
Yeah, you'll know this one.
That's Dracula.
It's
Yep.
Dracula.
Yeah.
Yep. So this just goes on and on and on. I'm just thrilled by this. So here's some other passing references: Styx, Van Halen, Metallica. I said Metallica. Led Zeppelin, The Police, Bob Marley, Aerosmith, Walker, Texas Ranger, Clint Eastwood, Motorhead, Jason Bourne, Special Agent Smith, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, Bon Jovi, Rolling Stones, Poison, Kiss, Heart, Genesis, Elvis, Eagles, Black Sabbath, The Who, Back to the Future, Patrick Swayze, and Dean even says, "I just Swayze'd that." Family friendly.
But the weird thing is that Foo Fighters beat all those for some dumb reason.
Foo Fighters? What does that mean?
It's a callback to our 90s music bracket.
Here's the thing, though, Jake. You're kind of saying, isn't it smart it's making all these references? It does this without being the Big Bang Theory.
Oh my gosh!
Without just throwing it at you and going, Doctor Who, isn't that so funny?
It does it.
Doesn't that sound familiar to you?
This is why it's a tier 1 show. Is because it knows how to do this and do it right. Often you won't even see this. They do it just for their own amusement. They'll flip up badges and they don't say anything, and then people will freeze frame these things, zoom in, and find out that they say, Frank Castle or whatever.
That's pretty cool.
And that's how they find out, right? And then some, like Samuel Coleridge is another one I have on here, who a lot of people probably won't know, but he's a British romantic author from like the 1800s. Kent's right. I mean, that is a pretty long list, right? I was just having a little bit of fun with that, but they do it so well. And again, this is why the show works so well, is they know how to deliver it, and most people don't.
Okay. So, but Jacob, can I ask you a question?
I'm ready.
Why do you love the show? Like, why should people watch it? Like, we've talked a lot about, fun and funny and stuff like that, but what is it about the show that makes you love it?
I guess the heart of it is...
Because, I mean, you mentioned it's funny, you mentioned it's clever.
Okay, here's the reason. It stays fresh, and it's a miracle that it can do that. In fact, the thing I normally say when I watch another episode, it'll end, and I'm like, man, how did they do it? How did they do that again? Like, it's not like it's the best episode I've ever seen, and I'm not just blown away and I can't stop thinking about it. It was like, man, that was really entertaining. And how can they possibly do that, 13 seasons in?
Is it your favorite show currently on TV?
Currently on TV, probably. I don't know. I really like The Good Place right now.
What about of all time?
No, it's not of all time.
Where would this rank in your greatest TV shows of all time? Top 5? Top 10?
It might be it'd probably be 5 in the top 5, something like that.
Wow, that's pretty high.
Just because of
Little House on the Prairie be number 1.
Obviously, yeah.
That's my life, guys. I lived that.
It's not that cool. Yeah, and it's only because of its undieability, right? It's just invincible.
You made up a word.
It can just keep going.
I'll allow it.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, the reason I like it stays fresh. It stays humble, which is actually really cool. And it's not just the show isn't. It makes fun of itself. Like, it's so meta that it.
So it's like a modern day Dr. Quinn medicine woman.
No.
For me, and this is maybe why I'm not leading this show, it is why, because generally when I'm like editing the podcast, for example, on the weekends, I'll turn on a background show.
Thanks for doing that, by the way.
Yeah, you got it. Or if I'm writing, I'll turn on a background show where I don't need to listen. It doesn't even need to be a show that I've seen before to be white noise. Like Arrow. I'll have Arrow on in the background. I don't need to turn up the volume because I don't care.
This is awkward. I'm kind of broken up with Arrow.
I know you have. But Supernatural, I'll try that too. I'll be like, yeah, it's the middle of season 6. I don't care if I don't really watch. I'll turn the volume down really low, and I'll kind of catch what's going on between the villains, Castiel and Sam and Dean. And then I'll kind of look up every once in a while and be like, oh, this seems like a good episode. Or it just seems like there's a story arc happening here. And then I'll be like, well, there goes everything I'm doing. I'm turning up the volume, just watching it now. So it's halfway between filler in a background show, then it becomes compelling.
No, I was in that spot for a long time before I was like really into the show or really, really appreciated it, I should say. I was like, I would try to just have it on in the background, but you just can't. It was like, oh man, this is just a little too good.
And that could be one of the reasons I don't watch it as much is because a lot of shows I'm doing other stuff. I'm, writing my journal or cleaning up or whatever. But this show, I actually felt like I needed to pay attention to, and I keep saying I don't have enough time to do that.
Yeah.
Another reason, and this is probably why it's taken me so long, is that it's not pulling me from episode to episode. Each episode,
which I don't understand how it's not. Honestly,
I'm about
Joel
2.5 seasons in.
You come from the school of Lost, right? Where it's like every episode ends with a cliffhanger, like a 24.
It doesn't have to be a cliffhanger because like for example, The Good Place. It was kind of interesting to be like, oh, where are they going to go next? As kind of the thing. But in each episode I've watched of Supernatural, I've liked. I haven't disliked it, but it's not like I feel like, oh, I want to watch one more, just one more. Like I don't feel that compulsion to watch the next episode, and maybe that's why it's taken me so long. But I do plan
actually
on
understand
it.
that.
Yeah,
the show kind of it doesn't like pull you along. It just kind of says, no, it's up to you to watch the next one. You're going to get some resolution here, but along the way there may be a filler episode or an ending that just actually ends.
I can see that.
What I wanted to ask though, it was you said I should be there now because I'm. Like I said, a third through the second season.
I mean, like, I'm trying to remember what's happening right now. I mean, I think Sam and Demon Blood and Powers or something, right?
Something
right
like
now.
that, yeah.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, at that point, I think it's starting to pick up. Like, that's where it starts to pick up for me.
Okay.
Other people, they don't think it's till a little later. But for me, season 1 was okay.
Because season 1, it really is Monster of the Week. Each one's a new folklore that I'd heard of, like, oh, I know this story, and then seeing how it played out.
Shouldn't you be so into that at the same time?
And it was a lot of fun, but that's why a lot of times I only watch it during October, because I'm like, oh, I want some. I try to watch something scary every day in October, whether that be a movie or a YouTube video or listen to a podcast, something. And Supernatural is my go-to for like, I need something quick, 45 minutes, here we go.
Yeah.
But I just haven't really...
Joel, honestly, it gets to a point that when... let's say in season 9, they go back to hunting a monster of the week randomly. You're like, well, this seems weird. This used to be the whole show because it's so story arc influenced, which is kind of hard. You can't just jump in now.
Have standalone episodes, though.
They do.
Okay, what I'd like to do next, this will just take a second, really, but their episode titles, obviously they have hundreds, literally hundreds to choose from.
How many episodes have there been of Supernatural? Do you know?
Literally right now,
I think 279.
Like they're just shy of 300, I know, but yeah, that's really close.
Isn't that crazy?
It is crazy. In fact, I've got a good story about that. Darn it, I'm going to
264. Wow, that's a lot of episodes.
Yeah,
it is a lot.
Buffy
of episodes.
only had 144.
Okay, speaking of that, I'm gonna go for this funny fact before I give you the titles. So Misha Collins, who plays Castiel, he stated that at the 100th episode party, someone said, "quote Maybe we'll see you at the 200th." And everyone laughed at the idea, thinking the show would be long gone by that time. And the party for the 200th episode was in October of 2014.
Yeah, crazy,
right? Like no one dreamed that it would be anything like this. Okay, so here's some of the episode titles: "Live Free" or "Twy Hard," which is a Twilight reference.
It's funny,
and it's an episode about vampires.
Yeah,
right. "Plucky Penny Whistle's Magical Menagerie." Now this is about a. Well, it's kind of about an evil clown and some other stuff that goes haywire. In fact, I'm going to mention this episode later because it's a pretty good standalone. Mannequin 3, The Reckoning.
I think it's for next pitch show.
Shut Up, Dr. Phil is another episode title. The Girl with Dungeons and Dragons Tattoo.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah. The Born Again Identity. LARP and the Real Girl.
Hey,
very good.
You don't get enough Lars and the Real Girl references.
Swap Meat. But it's MEAT. Yeah. And finally, Chris Angel is a douchebag.
No, but what's the name of the show?
Yeah, what's the name of the episode?
Yeah, the episode?
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, guys, since you were just talking about that, and I was listening, but list of longest running scripted U.S. primetime television series. Like what has the most seasons? You can probably guess the number one of primetime television.
Doctor Who?
No. U.S.
primetime. Oh, Simpsons.
Simpsons, yes.
Yes.
But Supernatural comes in about 20th place in most seasons. I was actually quite impressed.
Oh, ever?
Yeah. Like it's. I mean, there's ones above it like Gunsmoke and Law and Order and Family Guy and Dallas. But Supernatural, I think it's the only CW show in the top 20. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's been around. It's honestly, I mean, I think in a way
It beat out My Three Sons.
it's cooler now than it was in say season 7 or 8 or something. It's just like, wow, this show's been around a long time.
For the real people who play Sam and Dean, do you think they're just fine with these roles, that they're not really going to play anyone else in their careers? Do you think that's just life for them? Like they're now executive producers on the show.
They got to be making a pretty good nest egg going on 13 seasons.
Definitely,
they are. Yeah.
But do you think either of them have aspirations? Well, especially like Jensen Ackles, who could really play
he could do other stuff.
a ton of characters.
And I mean, he was
Man Crush
considered.
Monday.
Well, come on.
Well, he was considered. He was in the top 3 or something considerations for Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
What's that character's name? I'm forgetting.
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord, right?
Peter Quill.
Peter Quill. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And of course, I mean, he lost out, but I think Jensen Ackles would have done great as
Actually,
Star-Lord.
if I was
pushing 40.
if I was to pitch a Nathan Drake movie, an Uncharted movie, Jensen Ackles would play him.
He'd be at the top of the list
Yes.
for sure. He'd be great.
But he's
at
a
that.
TV actor, and there is like a lower perception of TV actors, especially on the CW.
Yeah, but so is Peter
George
Quill.
Clooney.
You know, and
That's
George
true.
Clooney.
Yeah.
He's got a point.
Yeah, and he was just the fat jokester, right? I mean,
I loved him as Fat Andy.
yeah, that's probably
but I
his,
also liked him as
his
Fat
best
Andy,
role,
too.
honestly.
Yeah. Speaking of Man Crush Monday,
Okay, so here's some other cool facts that I think. Actually, let's do these Easter eggs. In season 2, Linda Blair guest stars as a detective investigating the brothers.
Linda Blair, who played the little girl in The Exorcist.
At the end of the episode, she says, "I need you two out there doing what you do best. I know I'll sleep better at night," which is a nod to her role as Regan, in The Exorcist.
Alex Regan.
No.
So as the brothers walk away, Dean says, "Does she look familiar to you?" Then he exclaims that he's craving pea soup, which is
Pea soup.
yeah,
from
what
The
she
Exorcist.
vomited. Yeah, season 2, episode 12. Episode's called Night Shifter. So Sam and Dean are disguised as FBI agents, and has a picture of in a magazine. These guys are shown a picture of a humanoid metal robot, or a mandroid, as Ron insists calling it, with the caption "Cyberman." Both the name Cyberman and the likeness of the robot are references to
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
He's baiting us now.
I know.
Doctor Who. Cybermen.
It's kind of funny how many references there were. So Jared Padalecki, actually, who is Sam, played in the terrible House of Wax remake with Paris Hilton.
He was in that?
Yeah, he was. So at the end of the episode,
I wouldn't say terrible.
so they had actually.
You like it?
No, there was some creepy moments in it that
Yeah.
kind of made it worth watching.
Paris Hilton movie.
Well, Paris Hilton comes in 2009, season 5. She comes on to Supernatural as a guest star.
Paris Hilton did?
She's bad in that too.
Yeah.
But, Dean says.
He was terrible in Veronica Mars, too.
Dean says, "I've never seen House of Wax," and that's just a reference at the end because Jared Padalecki was in it. Here's the last one of these Easter eggs that I really liked. So, and this is recent. This is season 11. So Sam's in the cage with Lucifer, and the cage is the place where Lucifer's stuck in hell, and Sam's stuck there right now. Not right now, but at that point. And Sam asks Lucifer what he would do if he ever gets out of there. And he responds with this really quick quip, which is move to L.A., solve crimes.
Yeah.
Which is a reference to the CBS show Lucifer.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's Fox.
Yeah. Is it Fox?
Yeah, it's Fox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So we talked about the awards. We've talked about the fans. We've talked about some episode titles. Guys, I think it's time we start recommending some episodes.
And these are episodes that you can watch whether you're a fan of the show or not.
I would almost say these are the gateway episodes, like we did for Doctor Who
Okay.
as well. Kind of like where we said Blink was
Yeah,
the
watch
one to
Blink.
watch, and that was in season
That'll
3.
give you no idea of the show.
Yeah, whereas with Doctor Who, it was kind of tough to recommend Rose, which was the season 1, I say in quote marks, episode
The
1.
reboot, yeah.
Because it's kind of hard to watch. Whereas this show, I think it is really strong in the first season because it sets this basis for they're monster hunters. And in this first one, you get enough mythology, you get enough history, and there's also a ghost in the episode. And it's a very strong episode. This is the pilot of Supernatural, which we referenced.
Yeah.
And it's tragic, it's funny, and it's scary.
You're saying the pilot is one that people could
The
start out
pilot should be your first one.
I completely agree. I completely agree. The pilot is strong. I've seen the pilot showing it to other people. I don't know, 6, 7 times.
with. That first part is pretty horrifying. Like, that was kind of like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, eye-opening.
Well, and the ending as well.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Because remember, so we'll just ruin it. Sam, at the end of the episode, he goes, okay, we solved that mystery of this ghost woman. It's like a Scooby-Doo episode almost.
It's like, okay, we're
and
all
he's
done.
like, I'm going home because I don't care about hanging out with a brother I haven't seen for years. And then he goes home and tragedy strikes just like it did in the past.
It's a big twist.
And it is.
You think the episode's over, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that really.
It propels the entire
hurts.
show from that point on.
It does. Yep. So, Ken, I'd actually like to hear your episode suggestions.
So beyond the pilot, I'd say Bloody Mary would be the next one.
Which season is that?
It's still
one.
season 1.
Yeah, I've seen that one.
And actually, every one I'm going to recommend would be probably a season 1 or 2.
Okay, so nothing.
I
beyond that
have-
you're
I have some
watching.
others.
I have favorites later in the show, which are the better episodes, but the ones that are the gateway. For example, Bloody Mary would be in season 1, and this is basically a game of Bloody Mary. It's like what you do at every sleepover. You're like, I think that's
We're
how
at
it's.
sleepovers.
Yeah, right. It starts out a bunch of girls
We
being
just
like,
watch Medea movies.
right. It's like go in the mirror and say Bloody Mary, and then when they do, and they're like, oh, nothing happened, and then like a parent dies in the next scene, and it's horrific.
Yes,
Yeah.
they
And
die
so-
in a horrific way.
It explains what's behind the legend, and it kind of in 42 minutes gives you this short, scary story that really makes you afraid of mirrors for a little bit. Also, the clown one is fantastic. It is
clown one.
where a clown follows this kid home,
Oh yeah, and they invite him in.
Yes.
I've seen that one.
Yeah, that one's good.
and it kills his parents.
That's
and
early
it
on,
is,
too.
It's
That's,
gross.
3 in a row you've talked about killing parents. You got
Yeah.
issues you want to work
Well,
out here, buddy?
and then also there's one in season 2 called The Mystery Spot. And this one,
Yeah, that one's on my list.
this one is essentially, well,
That's which episode? That's season one?
season 2.
That's season 2.
In this one, you know the characters by now. and
Season
you-
3, Mystery Spot.
Is it season 3? So Dean, it's basically Groundhog Day, and Dean dies a whole bunch of times and has to relive the same day. And it's a trope we've seen before, but it plays it off so comedically.
X-Files did that.
Oh no, this show borrows a ton from the X-Files.
It borrows from everywhere. That's the whole idea. I mean, except when you get into demon and angel lore, which is nobody's done that.
So this is actually Sam reliving this day over and over again and seeing his brother die all these times. And these guys have died. I wonder if there's a count how many times these guys have died in the show.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, but those would be the 3. I would say Bloody Mary. The clown one's great as well, but Mystery Spot, Bloody Mary, and the pilot.
Dean's got like 154, and Sam's got like 2.
Exactly.
Or something like
Right.
that. Yeah. They like killing Dean. Yeah.
The
They do.
recommendations, Jacob?
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, the Mystery Spot is a really good one. The Groundhog Day one. Also, Bad Day at Black Rock. That can be a standalone.
Which one is that one?
That's the Lucky Rabbit Foot.
Oh, yep. I remember.
Which season is that?
That is season 3.
Okay.
And so what happens is that Sam finds a lucky rabbit foot and things start going really well. And then they find out that when they're separated from the rabbit foot, basically luck tries to counteract everything good that's happened to them.
Ah, that's a fun concept.
It is a ton of fun. And Dean takes advantage of the rabbit foot right at the end to use it to his advantage to save Sam. And it's comedic and it's funny and it's kind of tense. It's standalone. There's no story arcs there.
Okay.
And that's a good funny one. Folsom Prison Blues is season 2, and that's just right ahead of you. This
Johnny Cash.
yeah, and this one you don't know what's going on, but the brothers are in prison just right from the beginning. You're like, what is happening? And then they finally start to reveal, and they've been sent in to basically suss out this ghost that's haunting there, and it's kind of a creepy episode.
I do love creepy.
It works pretty well, I think. Okay, here's another one that's just great. Is Tall Tales. That's season 2, episode 15.
I'm getting close on a lot of these.
You are getting close, actually. Now, there's really only one reason I really like this show is because there's a different. I think he's called the Trickster. I don't know if they reveal who he is yet at this point, but
He's the Q.
yeah, he's basically Q. That's
Yes.
actually a really good reference. Well done.
Oh, Joel wouldn't know this, but Q from Star Trek.
Oh yeah, isn't he? I know who he is though. I know the
Discord
actor.
from My Little Pony.
Is that who it is?
So many fandoms.
He's in Gremlins too, I think.
Oh, yep. Mm-hmm.
So we're only in season 2, and these guys start to get meta. Like this might be the first time where I see them getting really meta, and I'm enjoying it because he has them relive the day and reenacting each other as they see the other brother, and so the actor has to just make fun of themselves like crazy. Like Sam, like really amps up the whininess, and Dean doesn't stop eating the whole time, which is a running joke. Dean is always eating. Like there's always a pie, there's
sounds like
always a
fun.
hamburger. And just these running things. Anyway, that show for that reason, like that won me over in a big way, right there in season 2.
If there's someone that's like, I just want to see how it is now, I don't want to go back 13 years in a television show and hopefully like it. There's one in season 11 called Baby, and it's from the perspective of their car, Baby.
that's
it's
a
the
good one.
'67
The name of the car is
Impala.
Baby?
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's a Monster of the Week episode in season 11, but the whole thing is unusual angles just from the car's perspective, and it never leaves the car because the car is actually their home. It's their home base throughout the entire show.
It basically has its own identity in the show.
Yes.
Is the car.
And actually,
Great episode.
I would say the car, I'm not going to give too much about this episode away, but the car is in probably the best episode. It's the car's perspective at the beginning of the best episode of the series, which is called Swan Song.
Yeah.
It's the end of this. It's season 5 finale.
Wait. So the cars,
Which is a Led Zeppelin reference, by the way.
Wait.
Yes.
The episode in season 11 is an episode in season 5.
Sorry. There's 2 times where the show has been seen from the car's perspective.
Oh, okay.
So season 11 is the whole episode. Season 5, the beginning of the episode, there's this whole prologue, and you see everything like calamity happening from the car's perspective, only for the beginning.
Interesting.
And it's an amazing episode because the show was meant to end
Just
at
that they
season
pull it
5.
off. Just that they pull it off is amazing.
Yes.
And they do. Another one, this is good for Easter eggs and stuff as well, is Shut Up Dr. Phil, which is I mentioned earlier. It's season 7, but they actually have James Marsters and Charisma Carpenter on.
From the Whedonverse, from Buffy and...
From Buffy, yeah. And they're these super old. He's a warlock and she's a witch, and they're having marital problems, and it's just kind of funny. And they're easy. That's why there's a whole Dr. Phil thing, because they're trying to counsel him through it.
Did they make a Buffy reference in there? Probably, right?
Yeah, they
Oh,
do.
yeah.
They do. Well, actually, let me mention Plucky Penny Whistle's Magical Menagerie one more time.
Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
It's pretty much right.
Yes.
This is a standalone. You can totally watch this one. Sam's really afraid of clowns, and it's basically Chuck E. Cheese characters turn evil. And
It's Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So this is a good one. Okay, so finally, the best episode that they've done, the best episode of Supernatural ever,
This is one that you can watch without...
is not one I would recommend. Some people say you can. I don't recommend watching this one without knowing the show.
Okay.
But I'm going to give you just this peek because it works. It's in season 6. It's episode 15. It's called The French Mistake.
Oh, it's so good.
And Kent knows exactly what this is.
Is it about Gerard Depardieu?
Yeah,
On a plane.
It's biography.
Yeah. It
Basically.
doesn't go well.
So in The French Mistake, Sam and Dean are trying to get away from this evil angel pursuing them, and a good angel comes and helps and throws them into another dimension and throws them through a window. And as they crash through the window, they're suddenly on the set of a TV show. Everyone looks at them and they're like clapping. They're like, well done. And they're playing, and in this alternate world, they're playing an actor, Jensen Ackles, and an actor, Jared Padalecki, who work on a TV show called Supernatural. And
It's very meta.
oh my gosh, is it meta? And so they're trying to figure out what's going on. They have to pretend to be actors. So you're watching them acting bad because they're not actors. Their characters aren't actors, right?
Right.
While they're trying to make the show, and they make fun of the show constantly.
Yes.
And I mean, just relentlessly, and it's right on point every single time.
You see Jared Padalecki's actual wife, who we met on the show. She was a character who died early in one of these seasons.
Who Sam held and Dean stabbed. And she's a demon. She's an evil
and
one.
you see her on set. She's like, "Hey, Jared, Jared Ability," and she's talking to him, and it's like just really funny. Like, oh, I remember
her from 2 seasons ago.
Right.
He's married her in real life, right? And so Dean's like, really, Sam? You married Ruby? Really? And anyway, yeah, and it just goes on, and they make fun of it, and a lot of people die in the alternate world or in
Yes.
the real world, and that's pretty amusing too. But that is by far the very best one. You can watch it, but you're really not going to get all the references unless you've been watching the show.
Yeah, that sounds like the one that you build up to.
I really think
What season is that?
6.
The show is at its best when it knows what it is.
Yeah.
There are 3 specific, maybe 4 episodes where it does play on it goes meta, and the show is strongest when it does that. And that leads up to the 200th episode, which is the musical, which is all about, this girls' school playing Sam and Dean and Castiel. It's great.
Okay, guys, I have my 4 reasons, and I mentioned a couple of these earlier, for why this show is good, and it's
There
worth
were 4 reasons.
your attention, listener.
I believe Kevin and I both gave 5 reasons for our shows.
You did.
I'll fill in the blank.
I've talked enough, though, honestly.
I kind of enjoy it. I'm
This
like,
is the most Jacob's ever talked on a show.
Yeah,
I'm
it
pretty
probably
sure.
is. It probably is. So I said this earlier. It stays fresh. This show, anytime you see
Like
something,
Subway.
and it
or In and Out.
So fresh.
so fresh. It stays fresh like In and Out.
For 3 minutes.
That's about right.
And then it's
the
soggy.
fries for like
Yeah.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, anytime I see something, I'm like, oh, they're going to have a werewolf episode or something, right? It's season 11. You're like, how are you possibly going to make this new, right? How can you possibly do it? And then they find a way. Mm-hmm. They find a way. These writers, they know. They're self-aware, and there's been so many shows that I've seen, they get going, they get lazy. These writers don't get lazy. And they care. That's the thing is you
Do you know
get
if it's
this
had the
sense.
same team of writers the whole time? Or
Oh no, they have some writing leads, but no, they rotate writers for sure. So, but anyone they bring on, they really care about this show and they get it, and it's just they stay true to it. You don't have these like odd branching things that just don't match up with the rest of the mythology. They know what they are. The other one I mentioned is the show stays humble because it stays meta. Sam and Dean stay humble. You see him in other things, and in fact, I saw a clip of Sam or Jared Padalecki on Jimmy Kimmel recently. Who was like, "Holy cow, 13th season, huh?" And he's super nervous up there, right? Mm-hmm. Like he's not normally on Kimmel. Like this is scary territory for him. You can, and he's like, ha, 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 nervous story. And then Dean is on. I forget what that morning show is.
Good Morning America.
No, the Regis Philbin, the Regis and
Live with
Kelly.
Kelly,
Regis
Ryan-
or
Ryan
Kathy
Kelly.
have not been on
Yeah.
forever.
Ryan. That's right. Yeah, Ryan Seacrest and Kelly. So yeah, he's on there and he's pretty chill. And they're talking to him about how do you stay focused on these things? And they both answer the same way. It was like, man, this is just my family. Like that's where my love is my family. And they both have kids. They're both posting on social media with these with their kids and with their wives. And they make it a huge priority. Also, the whole cast is really involved in humanitarian work. And anytime there's travesties, in fact, I even have a whole list I won't get into, but they do tons of good, and the fans know it. And they raise more money than most shows combined, honestly. This is a huge part of their culture. So, which is my third point, which is it's about family, both their immediate family and their fan base family.
And family. Isn't it about time?
Isn't it about time? And finally...
And About Time, starring Margot Robbie. Good movie.
Sure. That's your number 5.
And finally, the last reason is horror comedy is the best genre. I mean, it's just great. It
When
meshes,
done right.
When
Right.
done right. No, and of course.
Purposeful.
There's some bad horror
When you
comedies out
nail
there.
horror comedy, it is just a joy. It's just an absolute
I'm pretty
pleasure.
sure we just talked about a terrible horror comedy on our Bacon.
We did. Oh, gosh. But Supernatural does this, and which is just my favorite genre, which is probably why I love this show so much, is because that genre is just, I love that genre.
I'm going to give you a number 5 here. And number 5 would be, this is a great introduction to horror. If you feel guilty because most horror movies are rated R and you've never really cared about it, kind of like Jake, this is a good place to start. And then once you decide, oh man, I really like these short, scary stories, then it becomes less of an October and Halloween show, which is where I think you need to get past, Joel. And it becomes a fun show with a great mythology. It becomes less of a scary show, and there's fear scattered there, but it becomes about great characters and great arcs and humor as well.
Okay, Jacob, I'm going to make a pledge to you right now.
All right.
From my heart.
Okay.
I will get through season 2 before our next series of Halloween shows next year.
Oh, come on.
Wow.
Hey, I do it.
If you don't do that, what do you owe me?
I don't know. You don't like pitch shows. What kind of shows do you like?
I don't know.
All you can eat tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to take me out to all
If I don't finish season 3 before our next October, October 2018,
Season 3. You're finishing season 3.
I will finish season 3 of it's season 2, right?
You said 3. You just said 3.
I was here.
Yeah. Okay. If I don't finish season 3 of Supernatural by next October, I will get you all you can eat tacos.
Deal.
Okay.
Shake on it.
Yep. Shake on it.
Okay. I'm watching
It's
this.
All
I
right,
can't
guys.
believe you called me Sam.
You're totally sane.
Like that really makes me sad, actually.
Wait till you see the episode image.
I make that.
Let's give you long hair and a butt cut. It'd be beautiful.
I'll just go back to junior high.
All right, well, let's wrap it up, fellas. If you want to find me, you can find me at 76Joel on Twitter, or you can find me at Quick Wits. They perform every Saturday night at the Midvale Performing Arts Center. For more details, go to qwcomedy.com or go to the Quick Wits Facebook page.
If you want to see me moping about on Twitter or Instagram, it's at Kenny3DD. If you want to read my movie reviews, it's ShowtimeShowdown.com.
You can catch him there talking about his feelings. You can find me on Twitter at Jacob A. Rogers, and go find Baconsale on Twitter. And
watch Supernatural.
guys, go watch Supernatural because Driver picks the music and Shotgun shuts his cake hole.
Jacob, right now I want to know, Sam or Dean?
Can't I have them both?
Don't you cry no more.
He got into my soul with that song. Well, I'm just going to try not to be hateful. Spiteful, but not hateful.
He has a handsome robot. He wants to just come on and replace me.
Oh, I want to see this handsome robot.
Handsome.
Two hot, sexy young guys in the leads.
Yeah, they're both attractive.
It's Dean all the way, though.
Two sexy dudes.
Two sexy dudes?
What more do you need to know?
As far as man crushes go on TV, it would be Jensen Ackles for sure. I watch a lot of pilots. I turn off a lot of pilots.
Hot, sexy, flat flow.
No chick flick moments, man.
My beautiful butt cut that I have that I share with Sam as well.
Your hair's pretty nice, yeah.
Did say cut, right? Burn it like Sam and Eve's mom.
What?
Too soon? So it's like a modern day Dr. Quinn medicine woman. Man Crush Monday. Doctor Who. Cybermen. Speaking of Man Crush Monday.
A lot of people die in the alternate world or in the real world, and that's pretty amusing too. So fresh. It stays fresh like In and Out.
I can't believe you called me Sam.
Carry on my wayward son. There'll be peace when you are done. Lay your weary head to rest. Don't you cry no more. Carry on.
Why is Dean Bay?
He is Bay.
He is.